All right, this is Eyes Open Media. Okay, welcome to Eyes Open Media, by the way. Hope you guys are doing well. God bless. Shalom. Life is great when you repent and are in the Lord, right? Regardless of what's going on in your personal life, what's going on in your businesses, whatever going on in your life, if you just repent and know that the Lord, that you're good in the Lord. Nothing else matters, right? Because at the end of the day, that is the one you're going to be standing in front of, right? So, yes, that's all that matters is the Lord. So repent and be in the Lord. Everything else is secondary, and you'll have that joy and that peace that you're seeking for. Okay, so let's look at this. It says upgrading the Iraqi currency, dinar plastic. Okay, reevaluate the value of the dinar. Okay, so I mean they're being blunt about this stuff now. Okay, I think we have seen articles like this in the past about being very blunt about what they need to really do, but when you have somebody like a body that and so many people that are in the parliament that do not want to see that want to stay status quo. They might not be I'm not gonna say a body doesn't care about the citizens. I just think a body cares more about staying status quo. I think there's a lot of people in that government that want to stay status quo, which means that basically is not caring about the citizens. Okay, a body can come on TV and say, "Yeah, we're going to launch the economic reforms right after Eid." Well, Eid is over, a body. Why haven't you launched the economic reforms? Uh, you know, um, Maybe he has. Maybe we're not studying it right. Maybe he has launched the economic reform. We know they've signed all the international reforms and all the international stuff. They've signed them. They even got the loans from the IMF, the 600 million plus. So they've completed their job with the IMF. So maybe we're just looking at it wrong because we want it now, now, now. Maybe we're looking at it wrong. Maybe that's probably what we're doing because the IMF just gave them $600 million. So if the IMF's giving them $600 million, that means they completed their task with the IMF, and then once they actually change the value and launch the private sector and all the economic reforms publicly, because I think a lot of things are happening privately, but publicly we need to see them launch the private sector and all the other sectors as well, and then return to the global markets. And once that happens, they get the rest of the loans. Okay, so that means that the economic reforms has started because they got the $600 million from the IMF. So something had started because something was completed. Okay, so we can't sit here. I think it's not fair if we sit here and say these people are not doing this and that because the IMF did give them the $600 million. So something things have been completed. Okay, it's just not because we haven't seen any change of value. That's why we can sit here and try to complain and be like, oh, come on, man, when are you going to do this? Why are you making your people suffer? Because the citizens are still suffering regardless if they're doing something privately or if they have gotten all this stuff done. The citizens are still suffering until they change that value and give them purchasing power. The citizens are still going to struggle. Okay, it's like Vietnam, where the economy exploded the last 6 years, and but their citizens are still struggling. The citizens are probably like, what explosion in economics? We're all poor, and that's because of purchasing power. So as you see here, that Vietnam's going to also correct themselves as well because their economy has exploded, but they haven't changed value drastically yet. Okay, so we know that's coming because they can't keep having a top notch import exports country in business and not change the value currency, okay, and give people purchasing power, okay, to equal with what's going on with their economy. Okay, so we know that's why the IMF worked with them for the last 12 months now, and then they're ready. It looks like the Vietnam had their last consultation, and they're ready to go here soon. And another thing, they have to protect themselves from China. Okay, so change in value is going to be that is what's going to happen in Vietnam to protect themselves from China. Okay, so yeah. We know the Chinese yuan is going to be activated on 10/1/16. So we know that Vietnam's going to either make a move before or remove right after to protect themselves, as China is going to be activated into the SDRs. So we know that, okay, and that's going to affect them. So they need to make sure that their currency is strong, and so they can protect themselves. Same thing with Iraq. Same thing with Iran. Okay, same thing I think with us. Still haven't heard the word about South Korea, but Prophet Solomon did tell me to grab some what do you call it, Indonesia rupiah. Now, of course, I already told you guys about Indonesia. We did talk about it, but grab some Indonesia. So Indonesia, South Korea won. These currencies are also going to be affected by the SDRs. Okay, so you gotta make sure that I don't know if they're going to go before or after, but they're all going to be affected, okay, in a positive way. Now, there's a lot of currency that are going to be affected in a negative way, okay. Now, back to this thing right here. They're talking about the plastic dinar, basically money on cards, right? The Visa card, the MasterCard, I think the ration cards and things of that nature, or the electronic ration cards maybe as well. Okay, money on cars, plastic, bridging the gap with plastic. Okay, and I think the $600 million loan that they got from the IMF, the first batch was going to bridge the gap of the budget. Okay, so it was bridging the gap of the budget for monetary policies. Okay, and also we know that the IMF is giving them the loans to lift to support the economic reforms and the economic of the country. So we know that as well. Okay, so it's not going to stupid stuff. It's not going to wasteful stuff. It's going to for the budget, to open the budget. Basically, $600 million is going to open the budget and help Iraq financially. Okay, so that's a little bit about that. I did post this on 365 right underneath the report video, so you guys can read that. So let's move on to this. Okay, this was one Red Star posted, and this was you see it there. They're at the markets here, and you see the Iraqi dinar are exchanged for dollars at the busy Sorja market in Baghdad, Iraq. A key priority in a new program is maintaining the exchange rate pegged to the dollar. Some people are saying pegged to the dollar. When did Iraq peg to the dollar? Iraq's been pegged to the dollar. I don't know what people are studying, but Iraq's been pegged to the U.S. dollar. What do you think? Why do you think we flood the auctions? We've been flooding the auctions for years with U.S. dollars, Iraq's, so we can keep them at a program rate. It says new program. It says new program is maintaining the exchange rate pegged to the U.S. dollar. It says IMF. Yeah. So what's going to happen is they're going to remove the program rate. They're going to come into a market rate, but it's still going to be pegged to the U.S. dollar. I believe in time it will be pegged to the SDRs when the dollar starts to fall. But in the meantime, for this year, if we see this thing this year, hopefully, there's no reason why we shouldn't. But if we once we see this thing this year, they're gonna come into a market-driven rate, and then it's gonna be in that market-driven rate, that free float or whatever they're gonna be doing, managed float, free float, will be pegged to the U.S. dollar. Okay, so that's cool. And then let's go on to another one here. Okay, economic advisor to Abadi. This is Mohammed Saleh, if you guys don't know. Okay, it's right here, Mohammed Saleh. Okay, the funds approves standby credit agreement with Iraq. Okay, so the standby credit agreement is approved. Mohammed Saleh told us the other day that he had received the 600 million, and now Mohammed Saleh is coming out and saying that the standby credit agreement is approved as well. So they're gonna have the credit line, which also is going to increase. That's why we saw reports of Moody today, Moody credit rating, because it's going to increase their credit ratings. Okay, so that's also going to help as well. It says the first batch received by Iraq of the loans will go to the gates of exchange in the budget. Will go to the gates of exchange in the budget. That means that these loans are going to open the budget and give and start paying things off and give and open a world Iraq back into the global market economy. The doors of the social exchange, such as social welfare, a health, education, and ration card, and the affairs of the displaced, and then comes the other requirements. Okay, so it's gonna be bridging the budget deficit, paying things off, and opening the budget so they can finally get back into the global market economy. That's what these loans are going to do. They got the 5.3 billion here, and then we had the other loan that they are getting, which is 18 billion or something like that, up to 18 billion, 20 billion, something like that. I don't know. This thing keeps changing all the time. Look at this one, says 3.5, 5.3 billion. The other one said 3.4 billion. So I mean, I guess they dropped it to 5.3 once they paid them 600 million. So they paid the 600 million. So now it's no longer 5.4, it's 5.3. Okay. I guess you can say, that, I don't know. Okay, so let's move on. That's not what I want to do. I thought there was one more that I wanted to do, but it's not here. Okay, so I think that is it. So Sauter had his parade today. Some people are saying that parade was to basically telling the citizens, this is how much power we have military wise. Don't you dare destroy the country tomorrow. So that's what some people are saying. Other people are saying that, look, the Iraqi citizens didn't care about the parade today. No one is really talking about it. The Iraqi citizens are just doing their own thing. And others are saying, look, man, the parade was awesome, but it was kind of scary at the same time. Them showing their military might. We didn't know if they were coming in to take over Baghdad, or if they were doing a parade. But luckily we saw them prepare on Tuesday for the parade, so that gave it away. So people weren't very terrified and scared today, because a lot of them knew that they were preparing on Tuesday for this parade. Okay, so tomorrow is a key day, because today was okay. It wasn't as big as many people were claiming it to be. Okay, some people thought we were going to see a rate change today, or announcement today, or whatever the case may be. But what we saw was, a kind of quiet, massive parade, military parade. Okay, and then in the background, the IMF continuing to talk for Iraq, and Mohammed Saleh continuing to talk, and no signs of Dr. Shabibi anywhere. And which is really slowing this process down, is Dr. Shabibi went quiet, and I think he did one or two articles in June, and nothing so far in July. This is the months that he's usually talkative, June and July, because it's half the year. So the fact that he's quiet, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Okay. So yeah, 2012, it was June and July where he was going to be changing. He was talking and telling the world he was changing the value and everything. And then all hell, all craziness broke loose. But yeah, so I'm surprised Dr. Shabibi hasn't shown up. Mohammed Saleh shows up. Alaka doesn't even talk much any longer. Have y'all noticed that? Alak doesn't even talk much. He did get interviewed, and said that for him the deletion of 3 zeros is not on the table. I mean, it's still on the table, but it's not. He's not close to doing anything. So that tells us that he doesn't have any power to change anything until January 1, 2017, like he's already told us in an article last summer. So the only person that can come on in is Shabibi. Okay, so maybe that's the reason why Jabari is firing so many people in the last couple of days, because he's probably making a way for those people to get out the way, because they probably don't like Dr. Shabibi because he knows what he's gonna do, and then bringing Dr. Shabibi in. Okay, so let's just keep watching. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Eyes open.